always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. Grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
And we're back. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope you had a great one. I got sick with this stomach flu. It's actually the neurovirus, something to this effect. Fuck, man. And like, I don't get sick usually. I can be around people who are sick and like be in large crowds with people who might be sick. Like, I just interact with people, shake people's hands, hug people. I'm a hugger. And I never get sick. And God, it must have been like the day after Christmas. Was it? Yeah, I was at a like a local Cheers bar here in Pittsburgh, and this chick behind the so a bartender behind the bar named Katie. Thanks, Katie. She's like a good friend, and she's a hugger, so I hug her. But she looked like shit. I walk in there, and I'm like, "What's wrong with Katie? She looked like shit." And she's like, "I have this thing where I am nauseous, but I can't throw up, and I feel like I have the flu." And so nobody knew what it was. Like, you know, we're like, she doesn't have a fever. We're like, maybe it's something else. And anyway, I ended up giving her a hug because I always give people hugs. I'm like, I'll be fine. I never get sick. I got the fucking stomach flu, dude. Tuesday morning, today's Saturday. So this Tuesday I woke up nauseous in the middle of the night. I'm like, all right, let me just see if this passes. Let me just sleep through it. I wake up more nauseous when I wake up at like 6 a.m. So nauseous that I have to throw up, but I can't. I can't puke. I'm like, is this going to happen naturally? Can I just throw up, please? I'm going to have to fucking do the thing we all hate doing, which is gagging yourself until you puke. So I do that, and I throw up, and it's horrendous as it is. And then I feel so much fucking better after that. But for the next 2 days, I gotta say, I wasn't nauseous, but I felt miserably sick. Just flu-like sick. I watched Ballers all day on Netflix. I literally did nothing, couldn't think. It was the first time in a long, long time that like being sick made me completely fucking debilitated. Then 2 days later, I woke up Thursday morning, totally fine. And I went to the gym, killed it, went to dinner, Yesterday morning, woke up 100%. Today, I feel fucking great. So it was in and out, but it was one of the worst illnesses. So if anyone around you has the fucking stomach flu that's going around, you know, if you're in the Northeast, it's probably going around everywhere. I mean, it is in Pittsburgh. It is back home in the Philadelphia area. Don't hug them. Don't touch them. Don't shake their hand. Use hand sanitizer. Take a shower. Scrub everything. Back in action, boys. Feeling better, though. Feeling a lot fucking better. Hope you guys are great. I hope you had a great New Year. I really wasn't doing a whole lot. Again, I was down for 2 days. I attempted to travel, and I had some car issues, which made me had to fucking buy a new car. It wasn't worth it to fix. And yeah, that's life. Here we are. Welcome, brethren. Hope you're good. Niladri? Interesting name. Wanted a quick mention for you guys before we start. The Torque Nootropic Stack is buy one, get one free. Okay, the code for that is down in the description of this video. It's this stuff. I mean, it's basically like taking Adderall, but without having like the mind-numbing side effects that Adderall tends to give you. It's my nootropic stack that I built, which we ship to 40 countries, and we blow out of inventory every 3 months or so. It's buy one, get one free. The code is in the description of this video. Okay, let's get to questions, all right? Let's get this fucking thing kick-started. Let's get it kick-started, brethren. What would be the best DHT cream for topical use? I am for India. Andractum. Unless you can make your own. On the source list, you have access to powder DHT. And in that case, you can get some aloe vera and some DMSO. And ask ChatGPT to give you the instructions on how to make whatever percentage cream you want. So Andractum is 2.5%, I believe. Might be 3%. But you could make a 4.5% DHT cream, which would be much more potent. The things that I learned on using DHT cream or gel specifically was that if I rubbed it on the perineum, if I rubbed it anywhere, but more so on the perineum, I had greater ejaculate volume. So it must have just soaked through and affected the seminal fluid production. And I also had insane climax sensation, along with erection quality and all the other stuff we know DHT does. So that'd be my best bet. You know, source list will have, you know, gives you access to both Andractum as well as DHT powder if you want to make your own. We're so back. Look at this fucking guy. Simon Stone. All right. For those struggling to control E2 with aromatase inhibitors, is Masteron a viable alternative? All right. Give any general ratios you like to see people start at 4 times? No, I don't personally. Masteron's a tricky drug. It's a tricky drug because it's not just a mild aromatase inhibitor, which it is. It also blocks estrogen at the estrogen receptor level. It was initially studied for breast cancer, you know, breast cancer treatment, shit like that. So, I mean, it's going to block estrogen receptors as well as prevent some aromatization. So listen, this all depends on how much you aromatize and if that's a problem for you. You know, you have different sides of the spectrum. You got guys that can run cycles of testosterone, not take an AI. Their dick works great. Their libido is great, and they don't have to do anything. Right. And then you have other people who might be overweight or maybe not, but there's some other driving force for why they aromatize madly. And it really tends to fuck with their erection quality. And they have to do stuff like this. So if you're a person in that latter category, then it depends on your TRT dose. Like if you're just running, I don't really see what you're running here regarding testosterone, but I mean, if you're running a TRT dose of 120, call it, to 175 milligrams a week of testosterone, then start with 100 milligrams Masteron a week. You're probably going to only be able to get your hands on Masteron propionate, which is in and out relatively quickly. So you might want to split that up into 2 injections every 3.5 days. And 50 and 50 and see how you fare. You know, monitor your estradiol by running estradiol before you do this. And then after 2 weeks, run the estradiol sensitive again. You know, not total estrogens and not just estradiol. You got to get the sensitive. It really is more accurate. I've seen all kind of fucked up readings on just estradiol. Then I had one guy get total estrogens tested. It was like meaningless. So do that and see how you fare. Me personally, I did have a small stint with Masteron. It was in the last month and a half. And it gave me low E2 symptoms right away. You know, and I wasn't using a high dose of it. But I don't aromatize like a madman. And, you know, I just, my estrogen can go up and up and up. And then when it reaches a certain threshold, my dick stops working and whatever. But until then, things are great. So I can't give you a ratio because none of it applies. None of it applies. None of it applies. You'll have to find what's ideal for you. Start low and work your way up would be my best piece of advice. I lost chat for a sec. Let me refresh. Thanks, YouTube. Thank you. Nosy Blacklight is asking if I'm making a video on the post that I put up regarding topical testosterone? And the answer is yes. I've got to do a full breakdown. I really have to understand why. The problem with stuff like this is there's that literature, but they don't go on to hypothesize about why it happened. Why rubbing cream, or no, it was testosterone gel on a male's junk that had ED cured his ED. They cured in that study, which was a very short 6 to 8 week study or so, 32% of the guy's erectile dysfunction was cured. And they propose that in longer duration usage of testosterone gel rubbed directly on the shaft of the penis, okay, you've got permeability. It's going to permeate through the blood vessels. You're going to activate the ARs. You're going to probably locally convert to DHT. All this is useful, but they suggest you need more time. You might need 16 plus weeks to start having that 32% of people that got cured from their ED turn to 40, 45%, 50%, and so on. So, however, they don't hypothesize about why this is the case. They do make a vague statement in saying this is somewhat probably due to the systemic testosterone that goes into circulation, but I don't think that that's the only cause. Okay, you will locally convert to DHT. You're going to activate the ARs. The ARs are going to stay activated longer in the penis. You're probably going to optimize blood vessel function. And you might be upregulating fucking nitric oxide, you know, in your junk. So more to come. I've really got to cement my understanding of it. And if there is no other literature that explains it, I'm just going to have to hypothesize about what I think is happening. But yes, I will break this down. I will break it down. The moral of the story is, yeah, you might be able to rub testosterone gel or cream on your junk and get better erections. Yes. I mean, I've done breakdowns on that with cream and it does work. It works for me. It's worked for a couple people that I've used it on. It's not something I go around doing, but it's something that folks want to think about. It's not out of the realm of possibility, or it isn't crazy to rub test gel or cream on your junk. Okay. The gel might burn a little, the cream won't. Okay. David, in my opinion, why would DHT derivatives reduce libido? Well, I think there's a couple reasons for this. Probably the least likely reason is that it lowered your sex hormone binding globulin too fast, too much, too low. And now you're having a difficulty with the transport of androgens, and you're clearing testosterone out of the system too quickly, turning it into testosterone glucuronidase, which is a metabolite of testosterone that is upregulated when SHBG is too low. So that's one reason that this could happen. Secondarily, almost all of them, with the exception of Anavar, reduce estradiol, or they block estrogen receptors. And just some guys, you can't fuck with estradiol with them. They just got to let it go. So long as they're on a reasonable enough dose of TRT and estrogen isn't shooting up past the 80s or something, then they're fine. But the moment they try to take anything that reduces estradiol, whether it's a DHT derivative or an actual aromatase inhibitor, they start having dick problems and libido problems and other problems and joint problems. So you might be one of those people, or it reduced your SHBG a little too low. Leo, P5P has no dopamine increase for me. Is that normal? Well, you have no way of measuring that. So I think you have to retract that statement. If you're not getting an effect from that, that's a different thing. I mean, there's other cofactors you might need to synthesize more dopamine. You might want to try taking some mecunopurines with it, or eating some tyrosine-rich foods. You still need the precursors. If you're on a fucking vegan diet and you're not getting any tyrosine, well, that's your problem. Okay, Yuri, not a PD question. My family has a history of hypothyroidism, and so do I. I have hypothyroid. My mom actually has Hashimoto's. I'm not sure if my sister has it, but I don't. What should I take? What tests should I take? You want to run T3, T4, TSH, reverse T3, reverse T4, and you want to run, you want to run tests for thyroid antibodies to see if you have Hashimoto's. I mean, you probably don't. Who knows at this point? You want to run all of that shit. But probably the most important piece of advice that I can get is run that shit as soon as you can and get on medication if you have to. Get on actual thyroid replacement medication. You don't want an underactive thyroid. It's going to fuck with your energy. You're going to be cold all the time, as you probably are if you're hypothyroid. Your dick might not work well. Probably going to have elevated prolactin as well. None of that is good. Corey Andrew, as a non-HCG responder, what do you mean you don't respond to HCG? On 630 milligrams prop and 630 milligrams Masteron, figure this would keep E2 at bay? Well, not necessarily. Depends on how much you aromatize. Was on 500 IU HCG every other day for the last 8 weeks. Took it out 1 week ago and added 1 milligram of Arimidex. EQ is back to normal. Yeah, so basically you're saying that estradiol was a little out of whack because of all that HCG. I mean, in addition to all that prop at 630 a week is going to fucking skyrocket estrogen to a point. You can't continue to aromatize as you scale up testosterone. You'll just stop aromatizing proportionally, and your ratios will get wacky. You know, I know guys on cycle that have to take estrogen, you know, to basically have a libido because their estrogen can't go high enough for fucking where their testosterone is. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, I mean, basically you were just suffering from a pretty classic case of estrogen being too high, and that Arimidex, I mean, 1 milligram, that's going to fucking knock it right down. So as long as you're feeling good and you don't have any joint pain or tendon pain, and it's not messing with your muscles or workouts, then stay right there for now. But you know, this isn't sustainable long term. I know you know that. Good luck while you're on. And right now it seems as if you figured out the right balance. It's so tricky with cycles or even any new protocol. Whenever I do a new thing, it takes me 3 weeks, depending on the ester. With short esters, it's a lot fucking quicker, but enanthate, it takes me 3 weeks to just figure out, okay, with this dose, where do I have to be with estradiol? Do I not have to touch it? What's the DHEA dose have to be? Should the HCG dose go down a little bit because the estrogen's a little up? Like, and so you gotta, it's always a dance when you change things, and it looks like you found something that works, so please stick with it. Orlando, happy New Year's as well for you, man. Using male Excel test gel, what are your recommendations for better absorption? Nah, nothing much. I didn't know that male Excel had gel. I know they have cream. You mean the cream? Shave your testicles if you really want the best absorption. Take a hot shower before and then apply it. You have the pores open and you'll have a little better absorption. I think it's marginal compared to if you were to just put it on in the morning after a shower and you didn't have completely shaven testicles. But I didn't know they had gel. Last I checked, they had strictly cream, so that's probably what it is. Simon, general practice is to match the AI to whatever amount of test is being used. But is there anything wrong with doing it the other way around if you struggle to adjust to the AI? Well, I don't know about matching the AI. You're gonna have to expand upon what you mean by matching the aromatase inhibitor with the amount of tests that's being used, right? Because I don't think there's any ratio or way to do that. Like if you're on 250 milligrams of test, what does that mean? 25 milligrams Arimidex every what? So I don't really know. General practice with AIs is start as little as you can. Start very low dose of Arimidex or a low dose of Aromacin, and don't do anything. Like, you got to wait with Arimidex 2 weeks. You really should, because things do change over time, and estradiol might still continue going further down. With Aromacin, you got to be real fucking careful, not take a lot. Again, start with a low dose. Don't do anything after that. Run labs in 2 weeks and see where your estradiol is, but importantly, how you feel. The labs don't reflect necessarily how you feel. They're not the end all be all. You could have 20 estradiol and it seems a little low, but you have rocking erections and you feel fucking great. That's where you need to stay. You could have 30 estradiol and that seems fine and everything works, but you have shoulder pain at the gym, like in your joints and tendons. Well, that's lack of estradiol at the tissues, and you don't want that. So that's really the general practice. Start low, monitor, don't do anything for 2 weeks. As much as you might impulsively want to change something, this is another big problem with clients I have that come on board. They want to change every 2 weeks. And I'm like, this is not how it fucking works. How you feel at week 2, especially on a long ester, is not going to be how you feel and function at week 4. Just isn't. So you got to give it time. Simon also says, as a follow-up, easier to increase or decrease tests by small amounts when doing the same with AI, I find is tricky. Yeah, you might be a case where you're making changes and expecting results too quickly. Even with prop, like, let me give you an example. When I came off cycle, I went on 3 pumps of cream a day. That's basically where I ended up. And after 2 weeks, I ran labs and my total test was 879 and my estradiol was fucking 65. Okay. So that's not, but if I had done that I changed my protocol because I'm an animal. I want to try different shit. I don't even have a protocol right now. I'm just injecting tests when I need to. So, but if I would have left that alone and then reran labs 3 weeks later, that estradiol would have been down to like 40. If I would have done that again a week or two later, probably be down to like 25, where it normally ends up around there, right? So there was a lag in leftover estradiol. Estradiol takes a while. If you've had it high from a cycle, and then you go back down to TRT doses, your estrogen's going to lag high for a while. It's going to be high for a while, and your ratios might be skewed, or it might be fine for you. You know, it really depends on the person. So bottom line is, man, when you make changes, you really have to fucking give it some time. Really got to give it some time. Yuri, send your message again. Leo, how does keto and low carb diets affect the TRT? Testosterone in general, I think, is not very benefited from low carb diets. I think, like, if you're synthesizing more cholesterol, you might be making some more androgens initially. But look, everybody that goes on keto without breaks, you have to make this distinction too. Keto with carb refeeds is very different. I feel like I have a hair right here. Then keto, because I can see it out of the corner of my eye. Then keto with carb refeeds. You know, you want to refeed. This is why Vigorous Steve gets away with it, and other people who do keto can be fine if they're doing carb refeeds. If you don't eat any carbohydrates for 6 months, yeah, your testosterone, your thyroid hormones are going to fucking tank, and you're going to destroy your gut. And you're going to have acid reflux that's going to take you years to fucking figure out and get rid of. So you don't want to do that. Generally speaking, I think these diets are good if you do carb refeeds and if your body tolerates it and you're watching all of your hormones and looking at your blood work. You start getting extreme because you're reading bloggers and YouTubers that talk about it, and you're like, oh, it's a shiny object kind of thing, because I know how that stuff is. And then the wheels fall off the bus. David, why would a person want to take DHEA or Pregnenolone? How do you decide if you know when to take it? Well, David, this is a good question, but the real answer is the honeymoon period of TRT is characterized by insatiable libido, great erections, and feeling fucking great. And then for a subset of individuals, that honeymoon period goes away and they start having problems. That honeymoon period, though, is characterized by, one, pretty functional testicles as they start to decline, but two, DHEA and Pregnenolone levels that are normal and sufficient. Whereas 6 months down the line, after TRT, those levels will inevitably go down. They might still be in range, but maybe not your range, and they go down. I swear this thing is still here. So when you get on testosterone, all TRT is testosterone replacement. That's it. Doesn't replace DHEA, doesn't replace Pregnenolone. It actually skews the intratesticular hormone environment of testosterone, DHT, estradiol, DHEA, Pregnenolone. And DHEA fucking antagonizes cortisol. It temporarily antagonizes GABA receptors. DHEA is a potent neurosteroid. And so this is not something you want to go without. I have been on DHEA for the majority of my TRT protocol, and I honestly, I think it's one of the reasons I never really had libido issues on any dose, unless like at the cycle. And on the cycle, I had some fucking libido issues that I had to fix. That was estrogen related. But like, I mean, like now I'm not on any protocol. I recently injected 150 milligrams testosterone NF8. I think that was 4 days ago. I still feel great. I'll probably inject today or tomorrow just for the fuck of it. Like I'm not on any protocol because I have to think if I'm going to go back on some protocol. I'm just injecting test as needed, but I still have libido and everything works. Why is that? DHEA. I still run Pregnenolone. I run a baby dose of HCG at this point. It's very fucking important. So there's no determining factor, and not even blood work will tell you, because blood work will show you that you're in range maybe, but maybe not where you need to be. I've transformed guys' TRT protocols by just adding DHEA. Yeah, it's very powerful. It's the only hormone, okay, that in and of itself will convert to intrapenile dihydrotestosterone. Okay, it's also, even though testosterone is obviously very implicated in this, so is estradiol, but in the scientific literature, it's the hormone that most has, an associated property with erectile function in men. As you age, it declines, puts you more at a susceptibility for Alzheimer's. You don't want to not take DHEA. if you respond poorly to it, you might be it's creating more estradiol, and you've got to figure out why you aromatize so much and do some other things to aromatize less. That'd be my suggestion, brethren. Cap, does T and testosterone gel and gonad application increase sperm production? I would not think so. No, it would not do that. No, it would shut down your FSH. Yeah. Okay, Simon. Thank you, Simon, for the super chat. Small token of appreciation for all the questions you answered, brother. Thanks, man. Hope you had a happy New Year. Nosy Blacklight. So you said Anavar doesn't lower estrogen. Not to my knowledge. No, it's not. It doesn't have any kind of aromatase blocking effects like all the other DHT derivatives does. That's why Anavar is really unique. Yeah, I ran it for 3 weeks, and then I forgot to run my apolipoprotein B on cycle, and I randomly ran it after 3 weeks of Anavar. And sure, the Anavar probably influenced this, but it was above range, in the not catastrophically bad, but in the kind of medium risk category. So I had to cycle off of it. I loved it. I fucking loved how I felt on it. God damn it. No hair loss, strong as fuck in the gym, man. My pumps were literally insane. It's like I'd been working out for an hour when I did 3 sets. The pumps were just crazy. And I was very, very strong. But no, it doesn't have estrogen lowering effects. It is, yeah, one of the, I mean, it's probably the only DHT derivative that doesn't do that. I mean, Primo, Masteron, these all do. EQ, fucking DHB, these things are gonna fuck with estradiol. So dream big. If you think your pregnenolone is increasing your prolactin, you must test prolactin to back that up. Because it could just be increasing progesterone and that's inhibiting your DHT. You have to take a lot of it to do that. I run 30 a day and I have no problems with that. So, but that's just mine equals one. I mean, people are different, but you got to test this, man. You got to test this. If it is, lower the dose for sure. And figure out like why your body's responding in a way which is making you make more prolactin. Because, prolactin, it shouldn't, even in the presence of elevated estradiol, it shouldn't really raise all that much. It shouldn't go out of range, right? If prolactin is going out of range, man, you might want to look at what the fuck's going on. And there's only a couple causes. It's like excessive booze, excessive cannabis, and excessive and any degree of use of kratom do that. Or prolactinoma, which I'm sure you don't have because those are very rare. Best DHEA dose is between 10 and 50 milligrams a day would be my opinion. And I know that sounds like a very nebulous answer because some people respond better to 10. Listen, you're going to inevitably, make more DHT and you're going to make more estradiol on DHEA. Okay, both. So you got to find what works for you. The DHT effect is usually very pronounced and powerful and useful for people. But the estradiol for these people that aromatize a lot and are very sensitive to estrogen as it relates to dick function, 50 milligrams is too much. I got to stick with 10. So I think you got to figure out what works for you. But in that 10 to 50 milligram range is where you need to be. I take 50. Right now, I'm taking 50 milligrams every other day of DHEA. It works for me right now. I've ran 40 milligrams a day, 20 split morning and evening. That also worked, but that was with a 40 milligram a day dose of test prop and 125 IU HCG every day and 30 milligrams pregnenolone a day. So again, it's all protocol dependent. That's what I would think. Dar Fitness, hello, brother. Dun, dun, dun. Been taking magnesium aspirate and ZMA for years, but recently and after a few days of use, it makes me feel very agitated and pissed off. Switch to an oxide and no issue. Are you sure that this is what's causing this? Are you sure about that? Yeah, I would say that when people have issues with like a supplement or the other, you got to look at your entire regimen. I bet we could find what's really causing the issue. Now, these things might be exacerbating whatever's happening, but magnesium is a GABA receptor agonist. It's shouldn't be giving you anxiety. Zinc really doesn't contribute to neurotransmitter increases or decreases to the best of my knowledge as a nootropics person. So I think you got to look at something else there that these things might be exacerbating for sure. Because this isn't a common response at all. So it's your individual physiology. Excess fat will make prolactin high. No, I don't know there's any literature on that. No, nope. Not that I know of. Excess fat usually is estrogenic because of more aromatase in the tissue, and that continuously high can cause high prolactin. But again, even that is rare-ish. Simon asked, do I think pregnenolone and DHEA supplementation is supporting a possible progesterone allopregnenolone deficiency, and that's why it helps libido? It's a part of it. Yeah, it's a part of it. But again, DHEA converts to DHT in your penis. That's one fucking thing. DHEA can antagonize cortisol for brief periods in the effectoration window, which is, those are the conditions optimal for libido. If your cortisol's high, your libido is going to be a little wacky. DHEA can also block GABA's ability to inhibit dopamine and acetylcholine, both of which you need for libido. So those things are fucking important. And it also converts to DHT and estradiol too. They're different pathways. So I think you could be supporting lower levels of these hormones, right? But ultimately, pregnenolone and DHEA, especially DHEA, have all these other positive things that they do. Yeah, I wouldn't take TRT without DHEA personally. I could go without the pregnenolone. I just like it. DHEA is a must for me. Okay, Nosy Blacklight, PFS here. Oh, I didn't know that. Currently taking 50 milligrams daily of DHT powder, and it's helping with libido and repairing erectile function, making a 5% gel, soon to apply to the junk. Should I stop the raw powder while doing this? I think you should, so that you can see, look, you got to know what's affecting what, and you got to know how effective your DHT gel is in this case. And you can only determine that if the DHT powder is out of your system. The fact that you're taking DHT powder and having somewhat restoration, or you're getting positive windows, is not surprising to me. I see this all the time. So that's a good thing. But experiment for yourself. You know, I think that who am I to tell you what not to do? I can say that both of these things are useful. Oral DHT powder seems to be better in cases with PFS, you know, but maybe the gel will work. You know, you're applying a high concentration gel there. Thank you for asking them. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Good luck for this. You know, if you want to follow up question, you know, next Saturday or something, whenever you start doing that, you know, let's talk about it. Okay. Ed Boxer, symptoms of high prolactin. Glad you asked. Number one, absolutely positively, your dick is dead in the water. Dead in the water. You can't even watch. First of all, you have to watch the craziest porn in order to try to get turned on, because you're not making dopamine, in other words, enough, or it's being kind of fucking blocked, because that's what happens. It downregulates in the hypothalamus in this case. So you have to seek out crazy types of porn in order to get sexually aroused, and your erectile quality, it's like there's a damper on it. The literature says there's blood flow problems in the base of the penis, which is a non-starter. It means you can't even get blood into there, you know? And, you know, who knows what that is? It could be excessive PDE5 clearing the blood out. You know, it could be you're not making enough camp. It could be a complete shutdown of nitric oxide. I think the literature does suggest a shutdown of nitric oxide in penile tissues in this case. So prolactin has many mechanisms by which it can cause you complete and total erectile dysfunction. Secondarily, because what happens is these things called tubuloinfundibular dopamine neurons, they're dopamine neurons that shoot down the pituitary stalk to try to inhibit prolactin from secreting from lactotrope cells. What happens when prolactin gets out of range is those tighter dopamine neurons, they try to keep up with that, but they shoot and fire so much down that pituitary stalk to try to stop this prolactin. And if the prolactin load is too high and not stopping, they downregulate because they fucking can't keep up with it. They almost burn out, if you will. So then you lose your libido, you know, completely, complete loss of libido on high prolactin. It is the worst hormone, okay? Not far worse than estradiol. I mean, it's the far worse than any other hormone for sexual function. That's what happens. Complete silencing of your sexual function. Coffee enemas, nope, never tried that. Yeah, those kinds of things I tend to stay away from. I mean, you know, what's the logic behind it, right? That you're somehow detoxifying the renal system or something. And I'm not saying there isn't like credence to this, but that's not something, you know, like I would maybe think about this if my EGFR was 50 and consistently, and my cystatin C was as well fucked up, then I would maybe consider that. But until then, I don't think you should haphazardly do coffee enemas. I really don't think so. Because there's also sanitary things you have to, you know, factor in there. You got to do that very cleanly. Simon, do I notice changes in estrogen levels from using pregnenolone and DHEA? Would you see a drop if you pulled them from your protocol? I personally would probably see a slight drop in estradiol if I pulled them. Yep. But my protocol's set up in a way where I don't need that slight drop. The extra bit of estradiol is fine. My body changed. Just something really weird happened going on cycle where I can tolerate more estradiol now. Can't take it too crazy, but I can tolerate higher estrogen now. It's really weird. Whereas previously on just TRT doses, that wasn't really possible for me. Bodies change over time, but I think I'd see a marginal drop. But again, I'd see drops in other areas. Like my libido without DHEA guaranteed wouldn't be that good. Wouldn't be that good. Even on TAST and HCG and stuff. Underrated chemical. By the way, TRT Protocol Mastery, which is another guide like source list, but it's a fucking book, dude. It's me with my humor and all kinds of references. It's insane. That's launching in the next month or so. TRT Protocol Mastery. You can take anyone with any TRT protocol and have them refine it based on strategy in that book, and you'll fix your protocol. That discusses the importance of DHEA and how it's fucking majorly overlooked. And it alone can save people's protocols. MJ, taking Cialis for a few years at 5 milligrams a day. Just reading that you should take a break occasionally. I don't personally see a need to take a break of 5 milligrams a day of Cialis. It's a very low dose. I know guys taking 10 a day, 20 every other day. But if you want to take a dose for good measure, then go for it. But, you know, just reading tells me nothing. You know, I don't think you read that in a scientific journal. You might have read it on Reddit, which means nothing. Jordan Gina, thank you for the super chat, bro. Appreciate that, man. How long do you recommend cycling DHT-based compounds? Example, I ran Anavar for 4 months, 1 month off. I think that's reasonable. Proviron for 1 month presently. Outside of blood work, is any concern with keeping DHT regular? Keeping DHT regular. Well, again, these things won't modify DHT except for lowering sexual hormone binding globulin, which is going to increase DHT levels. But I would tell you this. The only cases where I see year-round DHT derivative use are Proviron only, but with TRT and HCG and whatever. Because that just helps said people be dialed in. And without Proviron, they're not dialed in like the right way. They don't have adequate sexual function. Anavar year-round, you'd have to be running 5 milligrams a day. And you really have to look at your lipids and your liver and kidney function. Probably not going to be severely or even at all affected by that. But you don't want to be doing 10 a day, 15, 25 a day. You know, definitely not any more than 25. Like Anavar is between 10 and 25 milligrams a day for periods, you know, 8 weeks, 16 weeks kind of thing. Monitoring your bloods. It really does have the tendency to fuck with your lipids. Now, there's things you can do to mitigate that, but if you're not savvy in all of that, then, you know, you're going to have some skewed lipids for a while and it might fuck some things up. But again, the only example I've seen where it was healthfully done with a DHT derivative was Proviron all year round, just 25 milligrams a day, every day, 365. Yeah. And that guy's rocking, has a great protocol and functions great. And without it, you know, things aren't quite as good. So cycle that Anavar, man. And if not, take very low doses. Vigor Steve has done a breakdown on this. I did somewhat of a breakdown on what I think, you know, a good dose would be for a cycle. Again, I ran 11.5 milligrams of it for 3 weeks. My ApoB went out of range. Now, it was probably out of range from the cycle, but I don't know because I forgot to check it after the cycle. I'll go back to it though. Thanks for the super chat. MJ, question, TRT plus looking to come off HCG. Could I start DHEA and Pregnenolone? You can. Again, some people can just take DHEA, Pregnenolone, testosterone, and then they're dialed in. HCG tends to make people aromatize more. It definitely will, and that can fuck with certain people. Certain people it doesn't, and they need it, and they're fine. Like I'm fine with HCG. Other people aren't. Now, this notion, the only person that I really know of that contends that no one has to take HCG, and as long as you take DHEA and Pregnenolone, you're good, is Dr. Keith Nichols from the TRT Hormone Optimization channel. And I think that's wrong. You know, those guys say a lot of fucking blanket statements. So, you're going to get testicular shrinkage no matter what, if that happens. And your ejaculate's volume is going to be lower. You could remedy that by taking lecithin, but still, if you care about cosmetics, maybe baby dose the HCG. I know guys that can't really deal with HCG, but they can take 50 IU every other day. Just enough. Just enough. I mean, we're talking about just enough, boys. Just enough. Like they're on the fucking literal critical threshold, but they don't have E2 problems and everything works well. You know, they don't lose their testicular function to a great extent. Yes, it is. It helps with the boner orchestra. I never heard that one. The boner orchestra. Yeah, that's what boners are. They're an orchestra of dopamine and oxytocin and nitric oxide and blood flow, blood vessel health, androgen receptor activation, estradiol to an extent. And that's how it works, though. Brethren. Steve, not to spark a debate, but does prop work better than IM than sub-Q? I noticed a difference. Seems to work better intramuscular. I'm always going to say, at least at this stage in my understanding of all this and having worked with people for 6.5 years on TRT, that intramuscular is just always better. What you have to think about is, what do we have study-wise regarding sub-Q in proportion to what we have study-wise regarding intramuscular injections of testosterone, but also intramuscular injections, period. If you if you get off Reddit or YouTube for a while and you look in the medical literature around intramuscular injections, and particularly the discouraging of subcutaneous injections, they know that, like with flu shots, etc., and other injections, all manner of fucking problems that can happen when you do sub-Q. At least of which is just material leaking and causing an inflammatory response locally, which then might trigger cytokine release and inflammatory response, whether interleukin 1 or interleukin 6, TNF alpha, to be released and end up in your brain, which is going to make you feel bad. So I'm always going to go with intramuscular injections when it comes to this stuff. I also found that for me and clients, prop injected intramuscularly gives way less PIP than prop injected subcutaneously. Yeah, prop sub-Q with... there was one time I was running 12 milligrams a day sub-Q. Fucking hurt. 12 milligrams a day intramuscular, I wouldn't even feel it. I don't really feel 70 milligrams every day. I've run that before of prop. Little tender around the injection site. Usually the glutes, nothing major. Dude, how's running in shoulder? Shoulders is actually good now. I've taken some time off. Christmas Day. I did a little bit of a deload leading up to Christmas. I was sick for 2 days in the last week, so I didn't go to the gym. Did I go New Year's Day? I'm pretty sure I went New Year's Day. So fine, but also I have changed. Look, on cycle, I wanted to lift heavy. I wanted to lift everything heavy and see what that did. And look, I built a lot of muscle. I got a lot of size. I've never run a cycle before prior to that. But now I am running lower weight, higher rep, and I'm just seeing more definition in my muscles, and it's looking pretty fucking sick. Like, I'm looking sick. My pumps are looking pretty sick. So running, it's 12 degrees here today or something. That's what it feels like. It's like 20. It snowed the last couple days, and so I'm not running outside. I'm running on the treadmill, which is a painstaking endeavor if you ever had to do it. Fucking hate it. Other than that, though, doing well. Going to the gym right after this live stream, boys, to go fucking show everybody what's up. Okay. Biscup, FTM. Is that female to male? I have been debating top TRT guys about the E2 issue, but they are not very good at sticking to the argument. Yeah, Keith Nichols, Winge, Dave Lee. Was disappointed with your talk with Dave Lee on this. Well, we didn't even talk about estradiol. We really talked about, I think where we touched on is using metformin to try to lower estrogen. We touched on all the shit that, like, if you do it wrong, or if it's wrong in your physiology, estrogen is going to be a problem for you. You know, estrogen just going to over aromatize. So the discussion really wasn't about that. I'm having Dave Lee back on the podcast, and we won't be talking about this topic directly, but we will be talking about 2-HCG or not HCG and some of the problems with HCG and some new literature I found on HCG, which everyone's going to want to fucking watch. And so, if you want me to bring this up, let me know. He has more reasonable with you, and then back to E2 means nothing on the groups. Well, perhaps, again, these guys have their position on this stuff. I've got my position on it. Some of it might have to do with the characterization of the client load that we see. I see people on both sides of the spectrum, but I've seen a lot of people with props with E2. I have a guy that takes, 0.125 milligrams of Arimidex every day. It's the only way his dick works on TRT. It's very fucking real. So you can't debate that. And this guy's in okay shape. He's not like a super fatty and drinking Colt 45 all day. He's in reasonable health, man. So it just, bodies are different. To contend one thing or the other definitively is an amateur move, right? Dave knows that. I'm not sure the other guys on that channel know that because they do make a lot of blanket statements. But Dave is a friendly, so we'll have him on soon. Jesse James, I'm in Canada and there's a shipping issue that causes a shortage for enthates. That sucks. Any issue switching to Cypionate? Not really. No. Oh, look. What I found is, okay, if an every fourth day protocol of injecting testosterone cypionate works well for you, which is a stellar way to inject testosterone cypionate, by the way, not every day and not every other day and not every third day, but every fourth day, then you switch to testosterone enanthate and you're probably going to have to switch that to every third day just because it's out quicker. And maybe every other day, depending on how you metabolize testosterone. That's really the only difference that I have come to notice. Enanthate is out quicker. I like it better. I like it much better. It makes me feel better. I don't have any weird side effects. The sexual function's better, but that's also in the context of a dialed in protocol. So I think you'll be fine. You might just need to inject yet less frequently. That would be my piece of advice. Inject less frequently than you are now. Just a little less frequently. So Ryan had a night and day difference with intramuscular versus sub-Q. For me, even like shallow IM is a little more like sub-Q, but it's still getting some into the muscle. Deep IM, for me personally, nothing touches it. And I'm using 1.5 inch needles when I go deep IM, and they're thin. They don't hurt. They don't hurt at all. It's pretty good, but I like to get it all the way in there. You don't want any of the material. I personally think that you don't want, or I don't want, material getting injected into extravascular tissue, which is where you have no blood vessels. I don't want that. Ali, what dose of HCG do you take? Right now, 132 IU every other day right now. It's kind of a baby dose at the moment. Just experimenting with lower doses to see what it's doing to estradiol, if I can maintain the same level of ejaculate volume and testicular volume. Hasn't been long enough for me to tell. Started test and titrated up to 315 milligrams a week of test E. Okay. It's not a bad dose. Pinned every other day. My test came back at just about 3,000. E2 was at 100. Felt zero difference in dick function or libido. Am I a hyper responder? Well, what was your libido like before this? You mean it did nothing? It did nothing to you for libido and erectile quality? If you had ED prior and you ran this and you still have ED, it's probably just because estrogen's too high. Yeah. Estrogen's too high. You might have desensitized the androgen responsive element part of the genetic sequences after AR binding, which theoretically can happen due to low sex hormone binding globulin due to too much testosterone. Those would be my guesses. Just guessing at this point. Skynet is real. If I stop rubbing DHT cream on my junk and EQ and libido will go back to what I had previously, no downregulation. Yeah, I don't think so. No. DHT is upregulatory of all these things. Of the ARs, of 5-alpha reductase, so no. But if you're using DHT and you're not on testosterone, eventually you're going to shut down your LH and FSH. So when you get back to natural, you might have problems because you have less of your gonadotropins. You have to think about it that way. Simon, regarding baby dosing of HCG, HCG loses its potency fairly quickly after reconstitution. 30 to 45 days, depending on the brand. you have to throw some away because you haven't used it all the time before potency is lost. If I have a 5,000 IU vial constituted with 4 milliliters of backwater and I'm using baby doses and it gets to just about half full, yeah, I'm probably going to throw it away at that point and just reconstitute another vial. But also I can subjectively tell when the HCG starts losing potency. Yeah. Because the testicles will change, sensation will change a very little bit, ejaculate volume a little bit, so I can tell. And you should be monitoring those kinds of things too and have enough of a awareness where little subtle changes you notice, and they have to correspond with enough time that the HCG has been reconstituted so that you know, okay, it's probably this is a good time to throw this out. Yeah. Okay, dream big, ran a heavy DECA cycle when I was 19, got really bad prolactin-based gyno. Ooh. I think I messed up the system somehow. I'm on T3 monotherapy dialed in except issues with prolactin. You're still having prolactin problems with DECA when you were 19? Get an MRI of your pituitary. I mean, I don't know how old you are now, but if you're still having prolactin issues, what is in your protocol that's prolactogenic? And if it's nothing, that's a problem. Get an MRI of your pituitary gland and see if you have a microadenoma. That would be my only suggestion there. I mean, if you're not drinking a lot or using kratom or smoking pot a lot, then and it's been a while since the DECA cycle. This could be problematic. It could be the prolactin. I have one guy that cured DECA dick from using DHT. The theory was that the metabolite of DECA called dihydronandrolone was binding to the ARs instead of DHT, and DHT somehow displaced it. Nobody knows if that's true. No one can prove that. So might want to think about getting some DHT powder, which you can find in the source list up here. Okay, sip every 4 days works like a charm. Like a champ, did you say? Yeah, that it's just a good frequency. Once a week or every 4 days. It's just a good frequency for sipping. You know, it really is. It really is a good frequency. The biggest problems I have clients coming to me on TRT are every day, every other day sipping. It's the biggest set of problems. That's what they're doing. The people with the most problems, like the amount of people I get with Cypionate every day, every other day with problems, it just dominates the client list, for sure. So inject that stuff less frequently. Testosterone enanthate, a little better. I mean, you can inject that every third day. You can get away with every other day as well on testosterone enanthate because it's out quicker. Okay, dropping the Ryan Root podcast. Well, we tried to record it, and Ryan's internet. First of all, throughout the whole stream, he kept cutting out and his audio became jumbled. So I couldn't even hear him. And then he had to get off for like 15 minutes and come back on, reset his PC. Then when I looked at the final product, like we were using StreamYard, which tends to take individual files, it optimizes them. And you really don't get, even if there are problems in the stream, many problems in the final product. The final product was riddled with problems. So I looked at it and I tried separating the files and I really tried looking at it and it was just such bad quality that I couldn't put it out. I mean, his face was blurred out for fucking 50% of the goddamn thing. My light just went out. I'll leave it out. Yeah, his face was blurred out because of how bad his internet was. Put that in context. Okay, Ferenc with the super chat. Okay, PFS, 125 milligrams Test-C, 60 milligrams Primo every fourth day. 150 IU HCG every fourth day. T is 1600, E2 is 31, HT 38. Okay, yeah, you don't have enough testosterone to make enough DHT. No improvements with ED. Your DHT needs to be at 90 to 150. That's why. In this case, you need sky high DHT and you need to keep it there. Yep. 60 milligrams DHT powder, tried every other day injections using, you need to continue using that DHT powder, my man. Maybe switch to transcranial cream, hybrid protocol of cream with your, which should be probably 150 to 300 milligrams of testosterone enanthate. I would not use the Primo right now. You don't know if you need to lower estrogen or keep it up, but you're at 31 here and you have no improvements. Your estrogen probably needs to be fucking higher. Yeah, it probably needs to be higher. And there's a case for that too for people, man. That's what I would suggest you do. I wouldn't do Proviron next. You know, I would raise your dose of testosterone. Remember, you've been androgen deprived. Everybody that has PFS has been androgen deprived. And the way to fix androgen deprivation is androgens, and a lot of them. You might need to run high doses of everything for a year and a half. I know that sounds like something you don't want to hear, but this is true. Androgens take a while to fix all this stuff. They may. The higher doses you go, the more you can hack that and get things fixed quicker. But I wouldn't try Proviron, next. What do you mean you tried 60 milligrams DHT powder? For how fucking long? How fucking long? This shit takes a long time. Stick with a protocol of higher tests, remove the Primo, keep the HCG at the same dose. Use 30 to 50 milligrams DHT powder daily and don't do anything for 4 or 5 months. Nothing. If you start getting hyper impulsive to change anything, that's your mistake. You'll never dial in. Don't fucking change anything. Wait. 6 months goes by, then you make a change if nothing improves. But you can't expect something like this to get better quickly. Steve Wonderful, I'm thinking about switching a prop to every other day. Will that improve estradiol? Will it lower it? It's going to peak it initially higher, and because it's more bolus of testosterone propionate, but then on the trough, it'll probably be lower than it's been, because it just, prop again, it goes up, but when it's going back down, it just goes like that. It just drops right back down. I have some funky bloods where I was on prop just days prior, and then switched protocols to some low dose protocol, and within 5 days, all that prop was way out, gone, left the universe, and my bloods showed that my test was lower, a lot lower. So prop is out pretty quick, and that would usually equal less estradiol. Although if you don't clear estrogen quick, it might stick around a little longer. But generally speaking, prop is great for every day, every other day. You can even get away with every third day with prop. Just has to be a higher dose. All right. Mr. Ricksecker, for a person first time trying DHT for sexual function, would it be preferable to take orally or transdermal gel? Orally. Yep. Take 30 to 50 milligrams of it orally. Go from there. Darfittis, I've tried it a few times and have most definitely the mag aspirate. Yeah. Is aspirate doing some, what's the mechanism of action of aspirate on said implicated neurotransmitters? Again, I think you're overthinking this. I'm not saying it isn't happening, but this is not a normal response, man. My thoughts are it's not a normal response, and you got to figure out why you have anxiety in response to magnesium. That's just not normal. Chris, switch from test sip to prop, 30 milligrams daily. All my estrogen symptoms are gone. I was E2 dominant since finasteride. That's common. And SIP made this worse. Yes, it does. Even at 15 milligrams daily. Feeling good. Beautiful. Again, prop is not for everybody, but it's for people's sexual dysfunction for sure. Oh, God, it's so much better for sexual dysfunction. And usually. And it's less estrogenic. It's just generally, you don't make as much estrogen. You peak higher than you trough. You don't have steady state estradiol. The tissues, they get a break. They get a big break. It's less nitrogenic, so less anabolic. Prop is a really interesting chemical. I'm surprised that it's not as commonly prescribed, but I think I know the clinics want to be lazy. Cypionate, Oh, yes. Anyone taking finasteride will feel better the moment you kick it. I think Chris did, though. Good man. David, how do you decide between TRT dosing on every 5th day or every 7th day? I found every 3rd day did not help with libido, but every 5th day is better. What do you know? Yeah, this is the kind of shit I've been saying for years, man. You experiment is how. That's really how you decide that. Yep. That's what. It also depends on the ester. Again, testosterone cypionate is best dose every 4th day to every 7th day. Testosterone enanthate every 3rd day to every 5th day, in my experience. Now, there are outliers of people dosing testosterone enanthate if it's a high enough dose, like 200 or 300, once a week, once every 9 days, and then they're fine. But everyone take heed here. Every 3 days of us, presumably a long ester here, did not help libido. Every 5th day is better. Again, with these longer esters, you give them more time in between, it's better. The SHBG doesn't constantly get crushed. You get a peak in estradiol, then a trough. It's more favorable to the system. I've been against injecting long esters daily for the longest time. And not because I have what is it? How do they say it? Dog in the fight? I don't give a fuck. I just see that it causes sexual dysfunction in some people. HCG maybe contributes a little bit to anabolism. Okay, Tyson, thank you for the super chat. Tyson, have you personally used secondary source for DHT gel? Yeah, yes, AG. I have used AG before. Yep. My experiences is pretty much the same as Andractum. Yeah, pretty much the same. Does all the good shit that I wanted to do. AG is a good source. I know you know what I'm talking about if you got source list. Yeah, and they've been making DHT for a long time. It's really what they specialize in, DHT gel. Okay, Allie, if you wanted to, where would you put your E2 to nuke libido but maintain DHT? Is it better to run high E2 or low to keep libido low? If I wanted to nuke my libido, I would unequivocally crash my estradiol. Yeah, definitely. Yep, if I would nuke it, like, yeah. Every time I've crashed with overuse of Aromacin, the first time I had run a bit of it, trying to figure out what the dose was, I took it too low. Because it's subtle, man. It's a creeper. You don't even know it's dropping, and then boom, you're down there. Any other time, like with Arimidex doses that were just inappropriate for the test dose that I might have been on at the time. Not only did I have erectile dysfunction, but I lost all interest in sex. I just didn't care at all. Didn't fucking care at all, bro. So if you want to nuke your libido, whether you have high DHT or not, manufacture a low estrogen state and your libido is going to leave your skeleton forever. Now it'll be back in a week or two depending, but yeah, I for sure, even on high 95 high picograms per milliliter estradiol, I still had a libido, but it was suffering and my boners were getting a little soft, so I had to do something about it. Taking estradiol down to like 10, 15 picograms per milliliter, sub 10, I would have fucking no sexual function. My dick would be good for pissing and that's it. High test protocol indeed, brethren. Yeah, I'm writing a book. It's a guide. It's called TRT Protocol Mastery. And that's one thing that we cover in here. It's that, you know, the gospel is that in the case of problems or as a general rule that you should low dose TRT. And I think that does work for some people, but for others, if they follow that and they need higher dose TRT, they're never going to dial in until they get to 300 a week. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but it's just true. When you see a lot, you get to see a lot. And it surprised me a little too. You know, over the years when I saw people that I'm like, all right, well, I guess we got to move to 300. Let's move to 350. I have a guy right now, 150 milligrams testosterone enanthate every third day. That's 349 milligrams a week. Because you're injecting 2.33333 times a week, technically. That's where he's dialed in. So sometimes this has to happen. And no AI, by the way. Sometimes that has to happen. You know, it's just hard. I have all kinds of theories on why that happens. People have been androgen deprived, or they metabolize testosterone too quickly. Some shit we can't even measure. Like, we can't tell. I don't have a test for testosterone glucuronidase, it's a metabolite testosterone, to tell if they're expelling tests too quickly. Sometimes high dose test protocols are necessary. They just are. This guy doesn't care about libido. I don't recommend any topical anti-androgen. This is funny because he's on the other side. I don't care about libido. I just want to prevent hair. When you lose your dick function, you're gonna fucking care. When you can't get an erection on a date for the next 4 fucking years, you're gonna fucking care. Don't take the goddamn shit. Go bald. Stop it. Dream big. Can higher prolactin affect mood, like feeling down? That I don't know. I've not seen an association with that. Higher prolactin, in addition to wrecking your dick, looks like it causes cardiovascular disease. Yeah, it looks like it causes cardiovascular disease. So there's that. That might ruin your mood. Nico, hey Nico, what's your opinion and experience on low-dose Primabon on top of TRT for well-being and libido? It's good so long as where your estrogen lands is in a place where your libido is still good. yeah, again, people's are estradiol levels. They're just fickle, you know, and people can be hyper responsive to changes in estrogen. So Primo can just go search Primo and libido in either r/steroids or r/testosterone. And you'll find a handful, more than a handful of people that have libido problems on Primabon because it took the estrogen too low. So you just got to be careful with it. If it doesn't take the estrogen too low, the estrogen's in a good place, great, because plenty of people also have a great time with it. It'd be great if everyone responded the same way, but they don't. But they don't. Ferric, without Primo lowering estradiol, gyno flares up, and your back is full of acne. I don't want to take an AI. Thanks anyway. I go with DHC powder. Are you referring to some other thing that's far above? You must be. Okay. I lost the chat again. Why does this keep happening? I'm having technical problems here. By the way, guys, I got the norovirus, the stomach flu. Destroyed for 2 days. Couldn't eat the whole first day. Fully better on day 3. In and out. But the most miserable sickness I've had in a long fucking time. Had to force myself to throw up on day 1. Wasn't fun. It's so funny. Throwing up is the worst. Think about the last time you threw up. And then if you've had to force yourself to throw up by gagging yourself, isn't that the most fucking horrible experience? God damn it. I was throwing up going, all right, I got this. Because I was like a little hesitant to make myself throw up because I couldn't throw up with the stomach flu. I needed to, but I couldn't actually do it. I wasn't throwing up. So I had to do it. In the middle of it, I'm like, all right, see, I'm a boss. I was like telling myself over the toilet, I'm strong. I'm good. And when it was over, whoo, did I feel better. Ryan, have you ever experimented with testosterone suspension? No, I will though. I will. I would think this would give we'll give a bigger peak than prop and it'll be out sooner. I will. Yep. I just got to get it. I just got to go. All right. I need to try this. There has to be a reason. And I'm going to get it though. Guys, Torque Stack is buy one, get one free. The code is in the description of this video. We run those 3 times a year. If that, this is the biggest special we ever run on this nootropic. It's basically like taking Adderall, but without side effects. Okay. Get it in the description of this video. The code is down there as well. It's buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free right now. A good estradiol level on TRT is 20 to 45. And by TRT, I mean 120 to 175 milligrams testosterone a week. On cycle levels of testosterone, who the fuck knows? You know, I felt okay I felt pretty good at 65 at 4,000 test. Libido became a little meh, so did erections at 95 estradiol at 4,000 nanograms per deciliter test. But that's just me. I do know people at 120, 130 picograms per milliliter of estradiol on 5,000 test, and they're good. So people respond differently, so I don't know. But the thing that I definitely have come to learn is that in higher doses of testosterone, you can tolerate and you need higher levels of estrogen. You know, there is such a thing as the testosterone estrogen ratio, and it does matter to an extent. It really does matter. You know, that's one of the most important things, frankly. When that ratio is out of whack, you're going to be fucked up. I would say try to shoot for your estrogen being 4 to 5% of your testosterone, something to this effect. I just did a recent calculation of that, so don't hold me to that, but I think that's what I came to discover. Okay. Oh, isn't that funny? So this person says it looks like female to male. You made this account 25 years ago and everyone thinks that. Yeah, because that's what's most associated with that. It looks like that's where I've seen that on the web, like on Reddit. You know, you search like I do, doing research for about testosterone like every fucking minute of the day. Then you end up, I end up on the, like female to male or male to female Reddit threads, like talking about dosing estrogen and testosterone and shit like this. So that's where I remember seeing it. But sorry that's happening to you, friend. I'm sorry. Chris, the worst things ever are throwing up and getting some in your eye. Have to stop myself from time to time to appreciate the fact that neither one is happening currently. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Yeah, man, if you're having a shitty day, just think I'm not puking. It's just, I mean, fuck, man. It's really a purge. It's a purge, and your body's pushing out stomach contents, which it's not supposed to do. And your esophagus is all acidic. And it just tastes disgusting, and it makes you more nauseous while you're throwing up, which further facilitates throwing up. It's pretty bad, man. I got to tell you, in the middle, I'm like, am I done? Am I done? Am I done? I had a stomach flu recently, and I had to force myself to throw up because I couldn't manually. Or I couldn't naturally. And just I'm puking the fucking carbonara from the day before. And I'm like, am I done? Can I be done? Then you know when you're done because you're just dry heaving and there's nothing else. Whew. Done. Feels so much better. Narrowest range for clients to with estradiol. What this person is referring to is that sometimes the range is 10 to 15 picograms per milliliter, sometimes 5 to 10 picograms per milliliter. Usually people with previous sexual dysfunction have a real hard time with estrogen, where it's just got to stay in a very tight range. Guys on lower dose TRT, I mean 80 to 100, they got to be between 15 and 25, really, usually. And then they're good. Again, guys on higher doses, high TRT doses, and then obviously low level cycle to mid level cycle, they can deal with 45 to 70, call it. And even in that range, which is a 25 picogram per milliliter range, they're fine as long as they're in that range. They're good. But estradiol, again, you might mistaken your necessity for DHEA as a problem with estrogen, meaning not everything's estrogen related. You could have sexual dysfunction and estrogen looks wacky and you're like, oh, that's it. But then you dig a little deeper, estrogen doesn't change at all. You add other things like DHEA as an example. Sexual dysfunction clears and the estrogen stays relatively the same, if not goes up a little bit. Hard to say. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. Great fucking questions. We're back. So this coming Monday, we'll have some more content coming out. Content schedule is as usual moving forward. We had a nice long break. I needed it. I honestly needed it from content. Just needed a break from content, a break from thinking, but also have people email me and kind of introduce new ideas based on problems they're having so that I have more content to talk about moving forward. So look forward to all that. Again, the Torque Stack is buy one, get one free. The code is in the description. Okay, this stuff is like Adderall basically, but you don't have side effects with it. It's very fucking powerful. I built it myself. Sourceless is where you can get any anabolic you could ever dream of. Quicker, easier, including DHT, Proviron, any ester possible. It's our most valuable product. You can get it down in the description of this video. Boys, it's been great hanging out with you. I'm happy to be back. Content coming this week. Look forward to it. I hope you had a great Christmas, holiday, and New Year. I'm glad you're all still alive. Everybody's here. And I'll chat with you guys very soon. We're back. Later. Oh, it's